like again and again, the repeating theme among this story is that people didn't see it coming. And that just gives the reader so much humility when you're looking at today. One of the things that sticks out from that too, that comes up again and again, is just the extent that no one saw what was coming. No one saw it coming. What actually happened, no one saw that coming. And even if you look at like the dawning of these big events, like World War II and the Great Depression, nobody saw them coming. It seems so obvious to you and I today. If you research what happened during the 1920s and what happened in 1929, like the glorious roaring 20s and the stock market bubble, it's easy to be like, of course it all ended in calamity. But people were not saying that at the time. And the few people who did say, hey, this is probably dangerous, were completely pushed aside. So like again and again, the repeating theme among the story is that people didn't see it coming. And that just gives the reader so much humility when you're looking at today, that you and I and everyone else and the smartest people that we know have no clue what's going to happen over the next 10 years. There's a friend of mine named Carl Richards, who's a financial advisor, and he has a quote where he says, risk is what is left over when you think you've thought of everything. I think that's the definition of risk, is whenever we're done planning and forecasting, everything that's left over that we haven't thought about, that's what risk actually is. And the takeaway from that, the actual practical takeaway, is that if you are only planning for risks that you can think about and you can envision and you can imagine, then 10 times out of 10, you're going to miss the biggest risk that actually hits you. The biggest risk is always something that nobody sees coming, including something like COVID, where it's actually not fair to say no one saw it coming, but by and large, it's like in financial circles, not a single investor in 2019 in their economic outlook had a viral pandemic as something that they were worried about. Like all the big events that actually mattered, it's pretty much true to say no one saw them coming. And therefore, the takeaway is you have to have a level of savings in your asset allocation that doesn't make sense. You have to have a level of conservatism that seems like it's a little bit too much. That's the only time that you know that you are prepared for risks that you cannot envision. And if you are only prepared for what you can imagine, again, you're going to miss the biggest risk every single time. And they say, God, you could be taking a little bit more risk. And they're right. Like I probably could, but I want to be prepared for the risks that I can't imagine, or the risk that like is possible, but like I don't want to even think about. It's too painful to think about. That's the only time that you can be prepared for the surprises in life.